All right, it says we're live. So welcome from the crossroads of America. A talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience, either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasIseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I got a Patreon page and a one-time payment through PayPal if somebody wants to do that. And all the other information is all down there below on YouTube in the information section. So that's it. So I want to say hi to people who are just starting to float in now. First in, believe it or not, was Guns and Barbecue. Then Jason Stewart.
Yep.
Then we got Midnight Range just joined us. People are just floating in because I've only just started. So we'll give everybody a few minutes. There's stuff, but let me introduce my panel. We've got Guns and Barbecue. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I figured I'd pop in early, make up for coming in late on Wednesday.
That's okay. All right, then we got the one and only Squibload. He might not answer because
we can't get to the damn mute button. Hey.
Okay. Then we got the man, the myth, the legend. Was it the other way around? Patriot in the Dark.
I've been known to be infamous at a time or two. But how you doing, Rick? Thanks for the invite.
All right. Then we got the one and only Kingpin.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time slot you guys are in. None of them count except for the Eastern Standard. So.
All right. Thanks. Okay. We got some more people. We got in there. Raphael's joined us and stuff. Two Live Moo is here. I can only see people who put stuff in the chat. If they don't put it in the chat, I don't know they're here. But I hear people say that. I actually listen to a lot of chats, but I never say a word. So people don't even know I'm in there. Because normally what happens is I'm watching it on my TV, laying back in my recliner, and I can't type in the comments anyway by watching it there unless I have my cell phone with me and do it that way. Then it will show up on the TV screen what I write. So, Ohio 45's in here. How you doing? Okay, people are starting to come in now, so let me get on with my 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 title was I couldn't fit it all in because you're only allowed 100 spaces. So I was saying what I wanted to say is we're still giving up our liberties for safety. It seems like in this country, and I'm basing this off of Sweden. Sweden didn't do anything. Yes, they've got deaths. They've actually got more deaths per million than we do, if you break it down that way. But their country just kept rocking on. And I don't see, and that's what we should have done. But people today, and we've discussed this over and over again, people they think the government's going to keep them safe. But I think this is the first time in the history anywhere in the world that people who are well are quarantined. Which is stupid. And you see the thing today, they are omitting all the, as you said last week, all the COVID death 19. A lot of them have been fudged. Like Colorado admitted they changed their figures. They had they reported 1,100 died from COVID-19. They reformed it this morning. It's only 878 because they had one guy who died of alcohol poisoning, but he was positive for COVID-19, and they put it down as a COVID-19 death. And that's what's happened. I would imagine by the time at the end of the summer, there's going to be over 100,000 deaths. And don't get me wrong, I say that, I'm not saying that flippantly, because we're calling it a number, but every one of those deaths, it's somebody has lost a family member. And it's terrible to lose a family member. I'm not trying to belittle it, but I'm just trying to look at the big picture here. I think we should go about our business. We drive every day, and that's a risk. I think you got more chance of dying in a car accident than you have of dying from COVID-19. So, I don't understand. The more more time goes by, I do not understand some of these states that are refusing to budge. I really don't. It just doesn't make sense to me. It seems like, and another thing I wanted to add is, if you want to stay indoors, it's your choice. Do it. But don't get on my ass because I don't want to. If you want to wear a mask, wear one. But I shouldn't have to. So if you're afraid of getting sick because I'm not wearing a mask, then don't come near me. Is all I'm saying. And if you don't want me near you, keep your 6 foot away from me. Then nothing will happen, will it? So it's all about calculated risks. And freedom isn't. I'd rather have freedom with a few. I can't remember the exact phrase I'm looking for, but freedom with a few. We discussed this before, like with firearms. Right? I'd rather keep our firearms. Yes, we're going to have a few crazies every now and then, but that is the price of freedom. And I'm thinking that's the same with the COVID-19. Yes, we're going to have a few deaths, but I'd still rather be free than be told what I have to do and what I can't do. And what makes it worse, some states are saying you've got to do this, you've got to do that, but they don't enforce it because they know they can't get away with it under the law. But some states are fining people and stuff like this. So I don't know where to go with this, but I'm just saying this is what I've been thinking about all week. Ohio asked me about my new revolver. Yeah, but anyway, we'll get to that Ohio in a minute. I just want to see if anybody else got input in what I just talked about.
Well, the last thing I heard before I had to walk away is this is the only time in history people that aren't sick have been quarantined.
Yeah.
Well, remember, you can't forget the Democrats quarantined a bunch of healthy Japanese at the beginning of World War II as well.
You got a good point there. Didn't think about that. Yeah, notice how it's Democrats. Democrats, socialism, that's what they are, progressives, whatever you want to call them. They want to be in control. They want power. You give somebody power, they hate. Like all these governors that are doing all this stuff, is they love that power. They got into politics for power. Look at me. I'm somebody. I'm the head of the school board. I'm the new district commissioner for this or that. Then they get, into the state and work their way up. So it's all about power. Problem is, when somebody gets power, they hate giving it up. They really do.
There's two sides to that, though.
And I just don't. And I think that's. I lost my train of thought there while I was going with that one. But anyway, we're going to. Yes. From what I was going to say about the Democrats, the progressives, whatever you want to call them. Their I can't even pronounce the word now. Their ideas, right, have not worked. They didn't work with Lenin, and they ain't going to work now. But people still think it's the greatest thing. Let the government take care of you. Let the government. It's amazing how quick the American people have rolled over. It's disheartening, really. We're not the land of the land of the land of the free, the home of the brave. That's a bunch of bullshit now. So anyway,
well, that's like I was going to tell you that there's obviously a couple sides to that. Yes, people like to keep power, but also there is a big group. I wish it was small, but there's a large portion of the population that once they get something free, they want it more, and that they're happy with it. They don't care what happens tomorrow compared to what they're getting free today. But a lot of people, I think, are getting bad information, and where they take it, it depends on the people, of course. But if all you do is watch some local news and get some horrible story, but I still think that the majority of Americans would rather be working and not sitting home getting fat. So I think as this progresses, I do think that people are, it's a slow murmur, but I think that most people aren't going to stand for people that are trying to push all this stuff, unless you're a college kid that wants free stuff.
Well, most of the people who are willing to enter happily into slavery don't realize, because they'll say, I've got a friend of mine that talks like that. He says, we need all these laws because there are stupid people out there. I said, well, you're not stupid. Why do you have to follow all these laws? Well, because there's people out there that need these laws. Because there's that mindset is, you're not going to take my freedom away because I'm not doing anything wrong, but you can go ahead and take other people's freedom away because they need it.
Yeah, and the problem is everybody's freedom gets taken. That's what they don't understand. So I agree with you. Anyway, it's Guns and Barbecue. You got any input on this? Any thoughts?
Well, as far as the wearing the masks go, I don't think it should be mandated by the government. I understand if they say, hey, we suggest doing this, it would help out, lessening this curve and all that fun jazz. As far as private businesses, I think it should be left up to them. If they want people to wear masks in their establishment, they should be able to say, hey, wear a mask or get out. As far as the government making places shut down and all this, I just think that it's a whole lot of overstepping going on right now. People can make good decisions, and with the media pushing the things the way they are, and like Patriot said, people are getting bad information. I'm just not a big fan of it.
I know what you're saying. You got anything on it, Squib?
Well, I don't know. Okay. So here's the thing. In my state, I don't know how they do this in other states. In my state, with regard to unemployment, somebody making $40,000 a year, $45,000 a year is going to get the same unemployment as somebody making $500,000 a year. There's a big gap there. So the fact that they do that, there are a lot of people that once you add in that federal money, they're making more on unemployment than they would be at their job. Then there's the other people that are making less. The fact that they've got the unemployment set up like that where they have a cap, once you reach a certain amount of pay, it doesn't matter if you make more than that or not, you're not getting a penny more in unemployment. It encourages some people to want to stay on unemployment while other people never wanted to be on it to begin with and are losing money every week. So I guess it just depends on what side of the line you're on. I'm sure there's plenty of people at my factory that are happy to be home on unemployment, and they don't care about the fact that we may have to pay back our health insurance later that they've been keeping turned on for us this whole time, or that we're going to be paying more in taxes later, or that they're probably going to jack up our health insurance in October, or any of that stuff. And I just don't think people are thinking long term. They're just thinking, what can I get right now? And sometimes there's a time for that. And other times there's time to kind of think strategic. And once again, it's what side of that line are you on? So for some people, you couldn't convince them that this is a bad idea. And for other people, they never wanted this to begin with. I was okay with some of this stuff in the beginning. I was willing to give our government a chance at the local, state, and federal level. I was willing to be attentive and try to do my part and all this other stuff. As things started going along and things started getting more and more ridiculous, and I started noticing stuff for myself going, this isn't adding up. I'm not in with the conspiracy theorists and all that garbage, but it just seems like this was a total waste. In the beginning, I was saying, we'll bounce back and we'll bounce back strong. Well, I was thinking we were going to be down for like 2 weeks. Well, now we're not going to bounce back real strong. We will bounce back. It's going to be slow, and it's going to be a mess. If this had only lasted 2 weeks, I'd say that we'd all be doing really good right now. But because we've been shut down so long, this is just going to be really bad restarting.
I think that's a big thing that a lot of people miss. This whole stay at home was just to slow the curve, whatever they say. It wasn't to wait for a cure. That money that was extra for your unemployment was so that you would stay home. But the whole idea that they just extended all of it just indefinitely, obviously is the big problem, because like you said, 2 weeks or whatever, that hot spot that they wanted everybody to stay home, if that extra money helped you out, and then you knew that 3 weeks from now I'm not getting it, I got to go back to work. That's big. There's a huge difference than people just saying, a governor or somebody saying, oh, we're just going to extend this out till August. It's like, what? So people are taking this, stay at home. It wasn't to wait for a cure. It wasn't so you wouldn't get sick. It just so you wouldn't overwhelm the hospitals. And what happened with the hospitals? The ships that were in California and New York, they didn't hardly use. The places that weren't empty or weren't full. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff because, whatever, it's better safe than sorry. But that whole idea that they're extending it out for indefinite is the huge problem, because people are like, oh, well, shoot, yeah, I don't have to work. But that was the whole idea, so that people would stay home instead of saying, hey, I'm going to go make a side job or this or that. And that would have been fine for that 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, that short term, but they didn't put a limit on it. They didn't put an end date, which is the biggest problem of all this garbage. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, I just think, as I said in my rant, I just think it's life should just, life, we need to start back up. Scribd needs to get back to its factory. It needs all the, what I'm saying? The country needs to start going again. Shops, barbers, hairdressers, nail salons, they all need to open up. Everything needs to open up.
See, when we shut down, we were still filling back orders. And since this has gone on, nobody's buying cars because you can't apply for an auto loan when you're on unemployment, even if you're making more money on unemployment than before. So nobody's buying new cars. And when we all go back to work, it's going to be real gradual. Like at my plant, we're not going to be running every shift and we're not going to be running full production. It's based on what our customers are doing. And our customers are going to start off next week and the week after and the week after at 25% capacity. That's going to trickle down to a lot of the factories like mine. Now that's my problem because I chose to be an auto worker. I could have chosen another field. But the thing is, who's going to buy cars if nobody's got the money for it? Before this, people had money for it. Now, even with the stimulus, even with unemployment, nobody's got money for that stuff. The money that our customers make, or the employees that work at our customers and the employees that work at my factory and other factories like mine, our money goes back into the economy and we support so many other jobs. We're the ones that trickle the money down into the economy. You've got the higher end wage earners that trickle the money down in, and then you've got the lower end wage earners that they're kind of like they maintain it or whatever you want to call it. But if I'm not at the factory making money, then I'm not spending it on things that trickle back into the economy. And so many, well, they can't justify having me there if nobody's buying cars. It's cyclical, and it sucks. But prior to this, we couldn't make car parts fast enough.
Yeah, but so did you get all your back orders done before you closed down?
No, we didn't, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You still got those to do when you go back. There'll be work for you.
Okay, here's the thing. The car sales really aren't so much. Sometimes it's based off of, if I say this a certain way, it's going to get misunderstood. Okay, dealerships have to buy so many cars from the auto manufacturers, whether they're selling cars or not. Otherwise, they lose their dealership license.
Yeah.
And without that license, they're screwed. So sometimes our back orders were simply to fill inventory at dealerships. Dealerships have hundreds and hundreds of cars available on the lot. What you see at the dealer lot you drive past isn't like dealers around here. Some of them have like 5, 6, 7 lots. So that was really more the back orders we were filling was dealer inventory. Well, right now the dealers have full lots. They're not selling any cars. When we were filling back orders, that's because they were getting stuff off the lots. You drive around and look at the car dealers. They're packed full of cars. Nobody's buying them. So if they can't clear their inventory, the only thing that's going to get them to buy cars from the factory that they're not going to sell is the threat of losing their dealership license. Well, that's no way to run a business.
No, you're right. You're right. Good point there. Good point there, Squib. All right. Hey, New York Outcast just joined us. How you doing?
Good. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
That's all right. Okay, I got people out in the chat asking me about my new firearm. As everybody knows, well, they don't, I bought a Uberti. Is that how you pronounce it? That's how I pronounce it anyway. 1875 Outlaw, nickel-plated, 7.5-inch barrel. And I took it to the range, and I only fired, 3 rounds, and the cylinder jammed on me. And I was in a panic. But anyway, I managed to pull the cylinder pin out, because it wouldn't cock, the cylinder wouldn't turn or anything. So I yanked the cylinder pin, and the cylinder dropped out, and that's the way I could have done it. Well, I thought there was something wrong with the gun, or it was me. I went back the next day, exactly same thing happened again. I went, God damn, I'm thinking the gun's bad. But I was sitting here the other day, messing around with it here, and I noticed the actual shell casing. This is one of the fired ones. I stuck it in the cylinder and span it. And as it got almost all the way around, it would catch. You could feel it catching. And sometimes, this particular one here, it would catch, but it would turn. I have a couple more that you put in, and it got to a certain spot, and it wouldn't even turn. The cylinder wouldn't even turn. I had to pop out the pin again to drop the cylinder out to get the brass out. So what I did was, I had this. A couple other guys involved in this in the chat. We were talking about it. My dies came in for my 45 Colt to reload. I took the empty brass, just out of curiosity. I stuck it in the resizing die. And I resized it, put it back in the cylinder, and the cylinder span, it went around. It rolled it down my arm, no problems. And all I managed, out of 2 days down the range, all I managed to fire was, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rounds. Out of those 13 rounds, I said half of those, it was sticking. But now that I've resized all 13 of the brass, all 13 of them now turn in the cylinder with no problem. So this is MagTech Cowboy Action thing. So I think MagTech's brass specifications or their are wrong. They're not. I think because one of them here. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. They're not perfectly round. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, because I'll stick one in, resize it, pull it out, stick it in, and it'll still catch. I put it back in, turn it 90 degrees, resize it, pull it out, stick it back in, and it works. So the brass is not totally, even all the way around. Long. So I think the MagTech brass is out of spec. It's the right length and everything, but it's the circumference, is that the word I'm looking for? Is not right. So what I was thinking of doing, now there's a loaded bullet right there. You know, one of the, that's one of the MagTech ones, is I'm thinking of taking my bullet puller and pulling all the bullets out, resizing all the brass, and then use, I don't know what powder they use, so I don't know what measurement it is, so I'll just get rid of the powder and use my own powder and reload them. So, Ohio 40.
Make a video of that and send it to MagTech.
When you load it with MagTech live ammo. Not all the time. Not all the time. One time I managed to shoot 3 rounds before it stuck. The other time I shot 2. Now, out of this box of 50 here, I did find 5 that I could, because I would do it the old-fashioned way. I'll put 1 in, miss 1, and do the next 4. Right? Out of all that was left, I managed to find 5 that fit no problem, and the cylinder span. But 9 times out of 10, it didn't stop the cylinder totally. As it span, you could feel it catching as it was spinning, as it was turning. There was a little drag on it. So I'm blaming. Was
that the rim?
Do what?
When Tony was on Wednesday, he said something about the rim thickness or something?
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. But I said I've resized them all now. All the shot ones, and every one of them works now in there. No problem. I set the empty brass in the thing, and it all spins all the time. With all 13 of these fired rounds, they now all spin inside the cylinder. So, but I can put loaded brass in there right now, and it will catch.
Is it possible that you got a bad batch number, or ammo manufacturers don't mess up between batch numbers? Like if it's set once, it's set for the day. I don't know how that works. Is it possible?
Well, see, Clover Tech in the chat now just said he's had some pretty horrible luck with MagTech ammo. I think MagTech is not a. They don't. What's the word for it when somebody's inspecting the stuff? They're what the hell is it called when people, when stuff's coming down the line, people inspect it.
Quality control.
Quality. I don't think MagTech's quality control is that good. I think that's the problem. It could be a bad batch, but I've been doing some research, and MagTech ain't the best ammo in the world.
So it sounds like the guy that sold it to you doesn't like you much, right?
Well, that's what I'm going back to. That was my worst mistake. I said to the guy in the gun store, I need some, ammo just for practice plinking. And he goes, yeah, he said, take that MagTech there. I should have realized he was trying to get rid of this stuff, So he got me. I got caught on that one, My bad.
I don't know. I shoot MagTech all the time, and I've honestly never had an issue. I say I normally get it just because that's what my local shop has, and for my 44 mag, it's at a good price. And honestly, like I said, I've never had an issue with MagTech.
Well, I said then maybe it's a bad batch I've got. I don't know, but
that's a good possibility. It happens.
But I don't know if anybody's watching the camera. I bought a bag of Starline brass there for my reloading, and I'm going to reload. I'm going to reload these ones and keep them separate, and just to see if it what it does. And I'm going to fire these. Either I'm going to pull the bullets out and reload them, or you know what I'm saying, put a couple in, and if it drags, pull that one out, and eventually, even if I got to put one in at a time and fire it, I'll get rid of them because I want the brass,
Well, that's what Tony was saying, is that revolver itself is super tight anyway. So it's there's a lot of firearms that can shoot the MagTech that isn't a big deal, that they're off a little bit because most of the tolerances are kind of loose.
Yes.
Because I shot them in, like, I use that 32 ACP with some of the Walther and the Feg and stuff like that. And some of them, you know, they're okay because they're old and they're worn, so they'll take whatever. But I've heard of a lot of them that it's not that the gun is finicky, it's just it's the spec, and then the ammo's usually a little looser or something.
Yeah,
but that's why you pay for it.
On that, the specs on that Uberti are tight. I mean, it's a tight gun. It's you know.
Is there a factory recommendation from Liberty in like the owner's manual what kind of ammo or anything like that you should use for it? Or
I think Dave lost his card. He can't be. Read the directions. Did he just say to read the directions?
Well, no. I tell you what,
for other people to do.
No, I do. I'll be honest with you. I know it's not manly. But I've never claimed to be a big macho man, right? But I do read instructions, and there's nothing in the manual talking about what ammo it recommends,
I'm sure if you check their website, they would probably have.
I was loading my dies on my turret press yesterday, and I couldn't remember how to do it, so I got Tony and Sean giving me instructions on how to do it, and I'm thinking, I'm listening to it, and I'm doing it their way, and I'm saying that don't seem right to me. I don't remember doing it that way. So after I got off there, I took them all back out and read the instructions and loaded them the way the instructions said. So that's all I'm saying. So I'm not, put it this way, it's put a bad taste in my mouth with mag tac ammo for me and the 45 Colt. So I'm not going to shoot it enough to go. I mean, I got a bag of 100 brand new Starline brass for it. Plus, I said with the 2 boxes, that gives me another 100. That's plenty for me. I mean, I'm going to take it down the range. Whether I take it down every time I go, I don't know, but it will go down there quite a lot. I'm not going to carry it. I'm not going to walk around with a 6-shooter strapped to my hip. So there we go. But another thing, I mean, that was $40 a box for MagTech, and that's the most I've ever paid for a box of ammo.
Is that a box of 50 or a box of 20?
It's box 50.
It's 45 Colt, and if it's MagTech, it's a cowboy load, so it's a specialty load. You're going to pay that much.
Yeah, well, that's the most I've ever paid for ammo.
I say pop the cylinder out, get the grinder out, and grind about, a 32nd off the cylinder. What's the worst that could happen?
You did. Okay, Rick, you know what you did? You did something that's very classic to firearms ownership. I'm going to buy the gun, then afterward, the ammo costs how much? Happens to all of us.
Yes, I did. I was, as I said, it was my bad. I was, I didn't pay attention to what. But I love the gun. I mean, when it first jammed up on me, I was swearing at everybody who suggested that I buy that one. It was all their fault. But now that I worked with it a little bit and I've taken it apart and cleaned it and everything else, I'm liking it. It's a beautiful gun. It really is. But it's damn heavy. When I was down the range, I tried to shoot it one-handed, cock it and shoot it like you do in the Old West. My God. That thing, I'd be dead if I was living in the Old West at the time it took me to cock that thing and everything else. I mean, I ain't trying to hold it up. That's a heavy goddamn gun.
Yeah, I always look in the ammunition cost first. That's there's a lot of guns out there I like, but not enough to practice, to be good with it, I guess you could say. So don't have the money to spend big money for something to sit around and shoot 100 or 200 rounds a year out of.
Well, that's the thing with that. If you get the specialty, something that's like that, that's not, you had to order that, right? I mean, it doesn't matter either way. I mean, that's like driving, you drive a vet and then you want to go and fill it up with, 85 or 80, whatever. I don't drive anymore, so I don't know what the octane is, but you don't want to put the good stuff in your vet that you just paid 48 grand, maybe. I don't know how much they are anymore. So
I was always planning on reloading anyway. That was my main. I was going to reload 45 Colt anyway, but I bought 2 boxes because I figured, that'd give me a start on the brass for reloading. So I thought I'd shoot those while I was waiting for all my reloading stuff to come in. That was the idea behind my madness.
All right, here's a reloading question for you then. If you take the box of MagTech, pull the bullets out, resize the brass, can you just repack them with the powder that came with them and reseat the bullet, or you're not supposed to do that?
Well, if you knew how much powder had to go in each one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just dump out, pull the bullet.
Yeah, I could pull the. Yeah, you could. Because the time you've got that hammer and you bashed out the bullet, the powder falls down there. Yeah, and you tip the powder out and you measured how much there was. I suppose you could do it that way. But that's a lot of work.
Ultimately, your problem is just the casing, because you said once you resize the casing, everything's fine now, right?
Yeah. It seems to be. All the 13 rounds I fired, I know that's not a lot. I said I resized all the empty brass, and it all spins in the cylinder now with no problems.
I got a dumb reloading question. What about the primers? What if the primer wasn't seated all the way? Would that, resizing it afterwards? Do you resize it without the primer? I don't know.
Well, these are resized without the primer.
Oh, okay.
So
but when you put it in without the primer, it did get stuck though.
Now, if I take the full bullet and I take the bullets, I take the bullets out, I'd resize them with the primer in it. Because why waste that primer? It hasn't been fired. So yeah. I mean, these primers. I mean, you can feel it if it's these primers. If a primer wasn't seated right, you would be able to tell. Yeah, and it would catch. But these primers are in there okay. So there we go. That's what I'm doing. So I'm going to use. I'm going to get rid of them one way. I'm either going to pull the bullets or I'm going to fire them one at a time if I have to. Yeah. I mean, and they're cowboy loads. I wanted to see also, I wasn't sure how hard it was going to be on my arthritic hands. So I wanted a soft shooting load to start with. The primer setback would absolutely cause that. In fact, on light loads, the primer will often back out and lock the cylinder up. I've had that happen dozens and dozens of times. Okay, maybe, but where I'm going with this, I take this loaded one here and stick it in the cylinder and turn the cylinder, and you can feel it catching as it turns. You can feel it rubbing on the back of the what the hell do you call that plate on the back of the gun? You can feel it. You can feel it every time it turns. You can feel it catching on every click. So
with the ones that catch, if you rotated it like 90 degrees or 180 degrees, would it catch still? If say that was higher on one side and that higher side hit first, it would stick. If it was the other way, is that how the other ones are sliding by? Maybe they're.
Well, I didn't try that on the on the full bullets, but that's how I had to resize some of those empty brass. Is I would resize it, pull the handle down, pull it back up, and I would turn it 90 degrees and pull it down again to resize it, and then it would work. So.
Well, those are cowboy loads, so they're probably, loaded like they did back in the old West, where they were all kind of, they weren't machined, right?
Never would have happened with an AR-15, Rick.
Nah, screw AR-15s. I'm not going to get in this discussion like AR-15. I think about, let's put it this way. If you want an AR-15, by all means, you have one. But I don't. If I don't want one, I don't have to have one.
I was just messing with it.
You know?
Run up.
I didn't want to get into an argument and my channel get shut down by YouTube, or I was totally blackballed by everybody here. But I was going to say AR-15s are like trying to eat mac and cheese. You know what I'm saying? But I must admit, the most guns that I buy, I would say 99% of the guns I buy. I mean, that 22 I got, the M&P 1522 with an AR platform. I have that, and I like it, but it doesn't do nothing for me. I bought it on a whim, and I thought, yeah, I like that's okay. That'll grow on me, but it never has. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had every time I fired that 22, it's worked flawlessly. Whether because it's a 22 or because of the AR-15 platform it's built on, I don't know. But it just doesn't grow on me. I mean, I don't see nothing pleasing to the eye about an AR-15. I mean, I don't know if that's the way you're meant to buy guns. I buy guns because what they look like. You know? So.
Everybody's different. I think back to your new birdie there that maybe you should try picking up a box of different ammo. And for the simple sake that
I might do
better if it functions.
I might do that, but I'm going to reload my own anyway. So, you know. It's not going to be, it's not an everyday carry weapon. So I'm just going to reload some ammo with the Star line and see how that works, you know. Jason Stewart, don't like the AR-15, you commie. They should be issued at birth. Now, I'll give credit. I saw one on a YouTube thing I was watching the other day, a YouTube video, and the whole thing was in a dark green camouflage, the whole rifle, and that looked pretty. I said to myself, "Oh, that looks pretty cool." You know, if I was going to buy, I'll give it. If I was going to buy one, I'd buy one with that camouflage on it.
You can always tell the gun noob. Oh, what's it look like?
What was that?
You can always tell who's the gun noob. What's it look like?
Well, that's what I mean. That's it. Who wants to be caught with an ugly gun?
Everybody who owns a Glock, a High Point, a Sky. I mean, jeez.
No, I don't have a Glock. I don't have a High Point. I don't have an AR-15 because I buy good-looking guns.
So, Rick, is the problem that the AR is black?
No, it's just not a. I don't own that AR. I mean, that 22 is the only rifle. Well, I do have another. I have a lever action 22. I haven't finished paying for it yet. I haven't seen because of this. I've got the money for it for my cousin, but I haven't seen because of this shutdown. But I like rifles that go wood on it. To me, they look a lot better. Just the looks of it. Nothing to do with the color. You know. It just looks, I don't know. It looks what it is, a piece of plastic. Looks like a toy gun. No, that's all I'm saying. Patrick goes, Rick, you son of a bitch. You don't like AR-15s and mac and cheese. Un-American. I knew that would come up. That's why I was afraid to say it.
You could always go to your trivia.
No, it's all right. We'll keep going. But Ohio says, now wait, there are no ugly guns. Maybe plain or a bit homely, but never ugly. You know?
You got your next purchase in mind yet?
Who, mine? No. Yes. I'm thinking of a Marlin lever action. That's what I'm looking at.
30-30.
I don't know. Or I might go. I just might go with a pistol caliber because, from what I can figure out here, I could be wrong. In Indiana, you can only use those bigger calibers on private land. If you're shooting on state or federal land, you can't use the big 30-30 308 anymore here in Indiana. That's I misunderstood the rule, misread the rules.
You should check that ammo price first.
You know, but if I was going to buy, I would like to have a lever action in 30-30. I really would, but I'm thinking more likely a lever action in 357. Or hey, get one in 45 Colt, then I'll have be real cowboy then, won't I? You know.
Yeah, I got the Henry in 45 Colt. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Henrys are nice firearms, but as it was mentioned to me the other day, I was complaining with taxes and everything else that Uberti cost me $640. That's including state tax and everything else, and that's the most I've ever paid for a gun. You know, I must be a cheap ass. Somebody called me a cheap ass if I think that's a lot of money for a gun. You know?
Well, I mean, it is a lot of money for a gun, but the way the market is set, that's not a lot of money for a gun.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, for me to spend, over that, me to go to 700 plus, it would have to be something that really catches my, that I'm actually dying to own. So.
I heard something about those guns. I don't know if it's your gun in particular, but the brand. Now, I just heard this. I don't know if it's true or not. I have no knowledge of any of that type of stuff. But I was told they have soft screws. So a lot of people that purchase those firearms end up having to replace the screws. So I don't know if I think Squib's dealt with those type of guns. Maybe he has an idea if that's a legitimate thing. Maybe something you should order or something you don't have to worry about.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if Squib knows or not. You there, Squib? He might have walked away. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, it looks like he's walked away because he's not answering us. Was Jason say dislike of the AR was implanted in you at birth, Brit boy? The love of the AR is instilled upon our youth. God bless America. I'm not an implant. I am an American citizen. My birth certificate says U.S. citizen born abroad. It says I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born on American soil, on a U.S. base in England.
Well, what was your question?
What was the question again there?
I was asking if you've heard of anything about soft screws with the new Birdie firearm. Somebody was stating it in a video, which I don't know. They're credible. I don't know anything about them, but it just stuck to my head because Rick had just purchased one. So, is that a real thing? Should he maybe look into getting some stronger grade screws or something, or is that something you've never heard of?
I've never even heard the term.
I mean,
yeah, I have no idea. So
The Ubertis I have are black powder. You don't use smokeless powder in a black powder firearm. So the metal in my Ubertis, I guess, is a lower grade, a softer grade than, say, something that can handle modern ammunition. But I'll never, I guess, break that safety rule or whatever you want to call it, and risk damaging the gun or having an accident or getting hurt or injured or something. I mean, I just, so I don't. My experience with the Ubertis, I guess I'm doing like Rick. I'm reading the instructions. Better hand over my card too. So I mean, his is set up for smokeless and black powder. It doesn't matter. So his should have the metallurgy to be able to handle anything that he puts in there within reason. I mean, I wouldn't take something, if I'm doing reloads, I wouldn't take it past the max that's in the reload manual, but that one is not a black powder only firearm. So that's the only thing I could think of with soft metal and an Uberti.
There you go. I mean, I don't know if the screws will come loose on it or what. I don't know. I haven't heard anything bad about them, to be honest with you. Yeah. I don't know if this is directed at you, New York, or at Squibb, but Jason in the chat says your wife has heard of soft screws. I tell you, get your mind out of the gutter, Jason. So, all right.
I mean, I know I was kind of going round and round with that, but I was kind of struggling for a good answer for it.
Yeah. So, it's amazing what sticks in our mind, what somebody says or you read or something, you know. All right, much time. Oh, let me do my quiz from last week. I had 5 entries, and the question I wanted was in the film Outlaw Josie Wells, when Josie Wells had snuck up to the Indian, and they were talking. And Josie Wells said, besides, it ain't supposed to be easy to sneak up behind an Indian. And what I wanted was, what did he say to him? And he goes, I am an Indian, all right. But here in the nations, they call us the civilized tribe. They call us civilized because we're easy to sneak up on. White men have been sneaking up on us for years. That was the answer I was looking for. And I wanted his real name. And it's Chief Dan George. So there we go. That is the answer. And I said I had 5 entries from my swag pack. Where's my random picker here? Here it is. Let me see who it's going to be. Oh God, unknown user was an entry. Oh Jesus, hope he doesn't win. He always wins when he enters. Aha! Jason Stewart is the winner. There you go. Things are looking up. It wasn't rigged this week. So there you go. Jason Stewart, you're the winner.
Congratulations.
Last week's question. Congratulations. Now, this week's question. It's an email quiz. This one's I think this one's quite easy. What I want to know, the Henry rifle, right? The original Henry rifle, when was it made? 1862 or something like that? During the Civil War?
1860.
1860, okay. What I want to know is how many approximately were actually purchased by the U.S. government during the Civil War. So, on the Henry rifle, what was it? 44, 40 rimfire? Isn't that what they were made in back then? And I want to know how many were approximately were purchased by the U.S. government.
44 Henry. Later, some of them were converted by gunsmiths to 4440.
Okay. All right. There you go. I knew somebody would have the correct answer for that. But anyway, what I want to know is how many were approximately, because I don't know if the figure I got is true. That's why I'm saying approximately. How many were actually purchased by the U.S. government during the Civil War? So email me at rickslife, as I see it, at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it into me by 12 noon Eastern time, the only time zone that matters, next Saturday, and you'll be in a chance to win the swag pack. So there you go. All right. That's that one taken care of. So let me write Jason's name down if I don't forget to. I'm assuming everybody got their packages from the other week that I said. So Jason Stewart. Let me write that down. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going now that. Mind you, I wouldn't mind getting a Uberti replica of sort of like a Winchester or something like that. Or would I be better off just buying a Winchester as it is? You know? I don't know. What do you think, guys?
Depends on what model you're looking for. But, I've seen some Model 94 Winchesters going for, $300 or so.
Yeah.
I've got no idea on this.
Okay. I'm just curious. All right. So, I'm just writing this down. Okay. Oh yeah, I saw those nice bullet ice cubes that Squib's got. Yeah. Make sure you don't swallow them when you're drinking your whiskey or your cocktail. You know?
Yeah, well, there's some more videos on that coming out, but no animals were harmed during the filming of those videos.
Okay, great. Actually, when I saw that, I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing what you tell, and it took me a while to figure out what in the hell it was, and I thought, but that's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool, actually. Especially if you got somebody who doesn't like guns, and you drop them into their glass and hand it to them. So, I don't know. It was just, I just thought it was a cool idea. Anyway, you got anybody else here got anything they want to talk about? Oh, I know we're a gun channel, but I talk about anything. I want to get back to government stuff. Do you think, I personally, but me, I'm not unemployed. I'm not living on unemployment. Yes, I'm on a fixed income, but it's basically guaranteed. It's coming in every week, every month, on the same day without fail. But do you think we need another stimulus check? Personally, we're already so far. This country's already so far in debt. I don't think the debt will ever be repaid. I don't think we'll ever have a balanced budget again. And if we do another $3 trillion, by the time this is all said and done, I think by the end of the year, we're going to be $30 trillion in debt in this country. And I just don't think it's right. Or am I missing the picture here?
I've got an answer for that one, Rick.
Okay.
No stimulus unless you reopen the country 100%. What is the point in giving people money to go spend to stimulate the economy when you can't go anywhere and you can't do anything? And I'm using that broadly because there are places you can go. There are things you can do within limitations. Think about how many people would put money in the bank or pay off some debt or buy something that they need, like furniture or fix their car or something like that. How many more people would use it to take their family on summer vacation or something like that, So
yeah, that's not
you can't go on vacation if everything's closed, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, good example. I mean, off the top of my head, Disney World is starting to take bookings as of July. So yeah, if the country's open, I'll use that to take down to Disney World. You know, yeah, that's a good idea. Anybody else got any input on it? What do you think? I mean, another way to look at it is our debt is so big now. What does it matter? We add another $3 trillion.
Well, most of that money isn't going to people anyway.
So what?
So most of that money wouldn't be going to the people anyway, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
not with all the extra stuff, and it's just garbage. We don't need it. Just open up.
Well, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. Just open up and get back to doing shit. You know,
they're doing that to prolong it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm not. I mean, I don't think it's a conspiracy, but it feels like that it's turning political, and they want to keep dragging it on into November for the election. Is what I feel, and I think if we're still in this situation, people will vote because the Republicans got us in this way. You know, I don't know.
Rick, do you think that the stimulus checks that went out and the extra unemployment that's coming from the federal government, do you think Trump was trying to buy the election with that?
No.
So you don't think when it gets closer to election time, he's not going to go, hey, remember me? I gave you all that money.
Oh, he's bound to say it. He's going to use it to his advantage. You know, but I don't think he done it to buy votes. I really don't.
Well, at the same time, it can blow up in his face. I mean, with how the national debt's going to balloon now, Democrats could just as easily turn around and say, do you really want another 4 years of this guy? He just, doubled our national debt or, whatever it's going to end up being.
Yeah, even though they caused it. Yeah. But I don't understand this bill that they passed last night in the House. I mean, it's not even going to fly in the Senate. It's so ridiculous. It's unreal. So I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: if they would take that money and just give it to the people, it'd be a little different. But $1 trillion, if they gave that to every citizen that is of working age, each person would get $5,000. So with $3 trillion, that'd be $15,000. But if they're only going to give everybody $1,200 again, where's all that extra money going?
Yeah, to their pork projects. That's where it's going.
Speaking of your pork projects, they're trying to get you like the little pig where you keep them in a box, you keep feeding them, or is that a cow? Anyway, that was just supposed to translate into your meat of the week.
I know. But back to what the question I was asked: did I think Donald Trump was doing it for? And actually, I said no. But Jason Stewart in the chat did bring up a good point. Wasn't his name on the checks that went out, or on some of the checks that are going out? So the check said from Donald Trump on it. So
heard he wanted it to be. Don't know if that's truly what happened.
I don't know.
The check said Donald Trump's name on it.
So maybe. Maybe yes, he did want to use it to buy votes.
What do they have to buy? What do they have to buy votes for?
I don't think he does.
Nobody who supported Trump needed to be paid to support him, and everybody that hates him, you're not going to pay him enough to not hate him. So, what votes is he going to buy?
But you're talking about two extremes there. There's a lot of people in the middle ground that, like myself, I look at a lot of things that he's done where I'm like, well, like the tariffs. I actually am in favor of the tariffs, but at the same time, a lot of the things that he's done against the Second Amendment, I'm not a fan of. So I'm not saying I can be bought or anything. That's not the case. But for some people that look at him and go, well, there's some good, there's some bad, that might push him over the edge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. We've had this argument before you start joining our panel. Now, well, you said the things he's done against the Second Amendment. There's only one thing he's done against the Second Amendment. You tell me what, actually, if you look at it from another point of view, what bill has he signed on his desk against the Second Amendment? Not one.
It's not a matter of what he signed or not. He has openly said he supports red flag laws. He's openly said on a press conference.
Yeah, you're taking the red flag law out of context completely.
You're taking it out of context, though. I mean,
but he also said we should take the guns, give them due process later.
Out of context, once again.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened, has it, federally? It hasn't happened. The only thing that's happened was he did instruct the Justice Department about the bump stock ban. And the Justice Department told the ATF to change it. But no bill has actually crossed his desk that he has signed against the Second Amendment. You know? Now, yes,
Not sure it's true, but there was...
You know? But we
there
also
was an article about him talking about using the military to put vaccines out door to door. I don't know if that's true or not.
Misinterpretation of the words.
What was that, Squib?
It's another one of the things where somebody takes a statement and twists it for their own agenda. A lot of that's been happening on both sides during this. I mean, it always happens with all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I heard about the whole, the military and vaccines. And somebody's twisting it to turn it out that the military's going to come down your street, kick in your door, jam a needle in your arm against your will. And that's not what it was about at all.
So did you hear the actual thing then? I mean, you make this judgment by information you saw, or?
The press conference.
Okay, just checking. Like I said, I just read an article, so I don't know.
The press conference and the fact that there are people out there that constantly will take a statement and twist it for their own agenda. People on our side, on the Pro-2A side, do it all the time, and it drives me nuts. I understand that sometimes adopting the enemy's tools and tactics helps you win the battle, but sometimes it's better to take the high ground and be a more moral person. I'm not saying always, but there are some people in our community that take the low-hanging fruit and twist some of the arguments against the Second Amendment, and they think they're doing us a favor, but they're really making us look as bad as the people we complain about. And I'm not saying Donald Trump's a saint or that our government is perfect or they never do anything wrong. They screw up more than they're out to get us. And that's the whole thing. People are twisting this. This is something where he's going to use the military that our tax dollars pay for in order. It's just like when they were saying, oh yeah, they're stopping people going into Rhode Island, the National Guard, and not one guardsman there at the border had a gun on them, and all they're doing is saying, sir, you need to quarantine, and they're like, yeah, fuck you, and keep driving, you know, but people are turning into the military stopping them at the border and turning them around, or they're arresting them, or I wouldn't put a whole lot of faith in some of these reports, but I'm not calling Donald Trump a saint.
Yeah. I mean,
most of that military stuff is all whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the reserves here, and they don't do anything that, you know, I mean, they're your neighbors any damn way. I really don't like that when they're.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, Patrick said no stimulus if we get all our jobs back that we were let go from. The U.S. government, China caused me to lose my job because of their BS actions. You know, yeah. Now, yes, I mean, there's been people, and I thought what that last stimulus package we had was if companies applied for it, it was to keep people employed, right? But I've noticed people were furloughed or sent home because they had no work for them. Now they've been told, well, you ain't got a job to come back to. You know? And so I think if a company took money from the government, they should give it back if they're not giving if they're taking the guy's job away from him. Or did I misunderstand what that was for? So I don't know. I mean, I feel sorry for the people that lost their jobs. And I've read somewhere there's still people around the country that still not even received their unemployment check yet. You know, it's amazing. I don't know how they're surviving. I really don't.
Maryland's got a big issue with that.
You what?
Maryland's having a really big issue with that. The unemployment website crashed like 5 times.
Yeah. I'm saying I don't know how people are surviving if they have to live on unemployment. I mean, I barely get by on my my fixed income monthly, you know.
Well,
and if I didn't come in when it was meant to, I could be in serious trouble. You know what I'm saying?
What you need to do is become friends with one of those real hardcore preppers so they could tell you how stupid you were for not being prepared enough.
Oh yeah, I know. You know, but.
Do you want me to do that right now?
No.
If you want to, which role are you taking? Are you taking the crazy prepper, or are you taking the one that's calling them stupid?
How about the moderate prepper calling him stupid?
Go for it. Let's have that conversation.
Should have been
because you're
prepared.
gonna lose.
Should have been prepared.
Should have been prepared. Okay. How long are you prepared for, Squid? How long are you prepared for? Can you go a month with nothing? Could you feasibly go a month with not? Okay. Why can't you go 2 months?
Might be able to.
Why can't you go 3 months?
That's not part of my prep.
Well, you're not prepared, stupid.
No, see,
that's exactly the conversation.
No, that's the different.
But that's the conversation that's been happening.
You're going apples and oranges.
No, that's the conversation that's been happening. That's the conversation that's been happening.
I'm
from
prepared.
From very day one, all these people out there.
No, because
you can't give out a stimulus package. Well, you should have had money saved up. Come on, go ahead, Squib.
I live in Michigan. I'm prepared for a blizzard. I'm not prepared for a tidal wave because I don't live on the ocean. Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
There's
exactly.
There's some people that prepare for a pandemic, right? But they don't prepare for financial collapse. You got some people that prepare for financial collapse, but they're not prepared for civil unrest. You got something, and some people are prepared for a couple of things, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You can't. I don't think it's practical to be able to prepare for everything. You can prepare for the asteroid to hit the Earth, and guess what? You're not going to live anyhow, so what's the point? Or nuclear war, you're not going to live anyhow, so what's the point? But what I'm saying is there are certain things. Oh, okay, I'll give you a good example. People bitching about 22 right now. After the last shortage, you didn't rebuild your stock of 22. You didn't learn your lesson. That's what people are saying when they're saying you weren't prepared. You didn't learn your lesson from last time you had a hardship. You didn't learn your lesson from last time there was a natural disaster. You didn't learn your lesson from last time X, Y, or Z. Now you can say, well, this has never happened. You're right, but you're telling me you've never had any debt issues. You've never had any other sorts of issues that I guess I'm the only person here who's ever gone through a natural disaster multiple times. So I don't know. That's the point of view I'm coming from. I'm not saying you have to be prepared for everything, but there are just some people that are prepared for nothing, and when this is over and done with and we go back to normal, whatever normal is, they're going to go right back to the same old crap, and then when something else happens, they're going to go, oh, woe is me, and be like, once again, you didn't learn your lesson.
You're right, Squib. I haven't learned my lesson.
I agree with you totally, but the conversation that I've heard from the very beginning of this is the government shut down your business, so now you need welfare. Well, if you were more prepared, you would have had it. Nobody was ready for the government to do what they're doing. So all the jackasses that have been screaming about you should have been prepared are exactly that.
My preps had nothing to do with the pandemic. However, I kind of what do you want to call it? Adapted, improvised, right? I used the old Marine Corps thing. I adapted and improvised my preps to fit within the parameters of this pandemic. I was never ever thinking about any of this crap. but I used stuff that I had that was prepared for other things to get through this. So
Yeah, and that's my point. That's my point. Is when I made the clear, obvious, distinct, direct line to the fact that no one could have been ready for this. Everybody was like, "Yeah, you should have been. Yeah, you should have been. You don't need welfare. You don't need the government to cut you a check. They shut your business down and put you out of business after 25 years. You should have been ready for that."
People should be a lot better prepared than they are. Just on average, most people, they say over 70% or whatever, don't have $1,000 cash for an emergency that they could grab right now without borrowing. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's priorities. I think people should CYA cover your ass from the get-go instead of fancy vacations or fancy cars or $1,200 phones. You should have a backup in case you lose a job, break a leg, somebody dies, there is a storm, something you can't predict, because that's what this world is. It's unpredictable. We think we know until we get slapped in the face by something, and then so obviously it's
my biggest
proactive
thing
to
with
have
that whole
something
conversation was Squibb's apple and oranges. What in the hell else would you compare but things that are different? So I hate when people say apples and oranges. That's what you do.
I'm glad I got under your skin. It's like whiskey bullets and ice cubes. No, here's the thing. None of you guys are asking somebody to save you. You might say, well, no, we're asking the government to. No, nobody asked the government. None of us asked the government to save us. The government just gave us the money. You can give it back if you don't want it, whatever. But I'm just saying, none of us asked the government for help. It's when you have the person who doesn't prepare for anything, or didn't learn their lesson, or hasn't thought anything through, or doesn't have any insurance, or doesn't have any whatever. And then when it goes bad, they go, come save me, whether it be to you or to the government. That's my issue more so than if you say, I wasn't prepared, but I'm going to figure this out. Hey, good for you. That's the American spirit. But when you go, I wasn't prepared, so government come save me, or friends, family, everybody come save me. Now, you know what? That's what friends and family are for. And to some extent, our government, to some extent, that's what they're for. And if nobody wants to help you, you must be an asshole. But I'm in big trouble if I ask for help. But that's just it. You've got a lot of people that you give them the stimulus money. I'm not saying you got to squirrel it all away in the bank or invest it or something like that. But there's some people that either didn't do anything with it and they're missing out on life. And then you had other people that blew the money and they didn't learn a damn thing. That's a perfect example of it. Don't come to me for help when you had help and you wasted it.
I think that conversation is okay if the person that, where you said, if something happens and they're sitting there complaining. Well, if they're complaining and they had the means prior to do something about it, that's different than somebody that is just, stretched really thin. Because I have people that I know that are, single parents, and they're working 3 jobs and they're doing all sorts of things, everything they can do every day just to live, half of what everybody else does. When something hits them, it is a little bit different because they didn't have that extra. There's only so many hours in the day or whatever. I mean, so.
I think that's where priorities pop in. If you look at these food lines where you got almost 1,000 vehicles lined up, I'd be willing to bet almost every single one of them is newer than mine, but yet they're in need of free food.
How many people, all of us know somebody, at least one person, that no matter what you tell them, they keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. At a certain point, you go, you know what, I'm done with you. I've offered you help. I've offered you advice. I've picked you up out of the dirt. How many times? You keep doing it. You know better, but you keep doing it. Those are the kinds of people that, I guess that's where I'm going with it more so than, well, this has never, ever happened before.
They're like junkies.
They're like junkies.
Yeah. They're not willing to help themselves. Like you can beat your head against the wall and try to tell them, and they end up hating you, and you don't understand, and blah, blah, blah. And then they just keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. It's strange.
Yeah. Oh, G-Webs
with their nice shiny stuff.
G-Webs in chat said, "Who cares what you prepped? Did you help anyone else? Are we a country of individuals? Is the government our insurance? If you didn't help others, why is it someone else's job? These are all questions he's asking.
Why didn't I help someone else?
Yeah, I mean that's what he goes. Who cares what
Most
you care?
people asking for help never even made one bit of effort to help themselves first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all
But
right.
what's wrong with
I'm just reading what he wrote here. That's all. You know.
So I helped a little bit, nothing major, but some toilet paper that was needed because they couldn't find any. So nothing significant, but helped a little. It came to mind.
I say, what's wrong with helping people if you got extra that you're not going to miss? Back when I drove truck, I used to keep things like cans of soup, Pop Tarts, little bags of chips, etc., up in the cab with me. Then if I was coming off an off ramp or something, and there's somebody there holding a sign that says "Hungry will work for food" or something like that, I'd hand them out a can of chunky soup, and I would stop at the Wendy's at the truck stop or something, and I'd just grab a bunch of spoons. So then I'd tape a spoon to that, and then they had a spoon and can of soup, or I'd toss them a bag of chips. I'd have people come up to me at the truck stops, say, "Hey, you got any change?" I'd just give them whatever change I had in my pocket. And the way I always looked at it is, I'm not going to miss it. I've never looked back and said, "Man, I wish I had that $2. I wish I had that can of soup back." Just because people aren't willing to help themselves doesn't mean we can't try and be a little bit better. I mean, at some point, people need to stand up and realize that they're not going to advance and have a better life without helping themselves. But there's nothing wrong with, giving that little handout.
All you did was enable them. They took that money and just added it to money that the next chump gave them, the next chump, and then they went around the corner and bought drugs with it. They probably took the can of soup and tossed it in the garbage as soon as you drove away. I mean,
could be.
I'm not saying that there isn't anybody out there who legitimately needs help, but most of the people out there, all they want, as soon as you give them a taste of charity, they're on it. That's why so many people are on government welfare, right?
But that's not to say that the majority of people out there are doing that. And say that's like saying, well, because that guy went out and shot up a school, majority of gun owners are going to shoot up schools. That's not the case. It's always the little minute percentage that gives the overall majority a bad name. And say, what were you just saying there? I'm sorry. When I cut you off. The welfare. The average person that ends up on welfare is only on it for 2 years, and then they're off.
Where the hell did you hear that bullshit?
You can look right back at the Trump administration.
Go look it up. That's not to say that there's
Generations.
the system. I'm not saying that at all. But the average person that is not looking to abuse the system or anything, about 2 years they're on the welfare system, then they're off of it.
Let's also not make it sound like, there's 350 million people roughly in this country. Hardly the majority are on welfare. And go back to MAGA. All those people that were moved off welfare into real jobs happily cashed their paychecks instead of their welfare checks. So there is the vast majority of people that are on welfare. That's not even. No, the vast majority of the American people, and I think people in general, want to do for themselves. And then going back to you take care of your neighbor or not. If you see somebody needs some food, you give it to them. If they don't take that food, if they throw it in the trash, that's on them. But you did your part, whether it's to make you feel better or whether it's because it's the right thing to do. And that's where a lot of people just stick their heads down and then boom, right past everybody. And you can see everybody that wants to give to charity, there's plenty of charity you pass every single day in your friends and your family, your coworkers. So there's plenty of room to do good stuff for good people. And saying that the vast majority of people aren't good people, that's a lie.
I'd say the majority are kind of out for themselves. They want the biggest buck for the least amount of effort.
Yes, and you do too. So do you. So do you.
Not really. The parents give people cars. They buy everything. Kids are just handed stuff nowadays. You screw up and everybody takes care of it. People don't fail. People don't have to try. It's almost okay. People have been hired over me because they were a felon that, did forcible rape to somebody. So it was better for them to get hired than somebody with a clean record. Things are kind of twisted, in my opinion.
So you think the vast majority of the American citizens are rapists?
No, I think the average person, if they can get away with it, they will. They don't, same thing at work. How many times has somebody trained your replacement? How many times, there's so many different examples. Basically, the boss pulls in with a new Ferrari. Well, he lets 5 of you go. This is
it's his business.
Come to live in now.
That's his business. He didn't open a business to put money in your pocket. He opened a business to put money in his pocket, and he allows you to help him do that. That's what business is. Business isn't
Are you saying that it's a private business and they can do what they want? Is that what you just said?
That's exactly what I said. And that private business isn't censoring people. So when we're talking about YouTube and when we're talking about social media using their platforms and they're given protections from the government that they don't give to us. That's why they delete our channels and pages and censor us here. A guy opening a business selling scissors, he wants to sell scissors to make his life better. You are going to help him make his life better. That's how commerce and stuff works. That's how business works. These aren't charities.
Everybody treats the world like charity. People don't have to get out of their own holes they make for themselves.
There you go again. Everybody.
They don't. Statistically, they don't. So, you say what you want. Statistically,
show me your statistics. Show me your statistics. Where do you get these statistics from? Show me where you got your statistics from.
Junkies, drugs, alcoholics, they all get second chances. They all get, everything handed to them. And the people that are still doing good, they get overlooked.
You're throwing the old people, the handicapped, the single moms, all in that same category.
It's everybody.
Some of them.
Everybody.
Yeah, some of them.
It's not some. Not some. You said everybody earlier.
Majority of people. Okay, well, the majority of people are dumbasses. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, do you believe people are unredeemable? That's why we're sitting here on the internet, because the majority of people are stupid. That if the majority of people were stupid and as helpless as that, humanity wouldn't have made it this far.
You can look at humanity and have questions on that too.
You have questions on everything. You have questions on absolutely everything. Yeah. For such a happy guy with such a great attitude, you sure are a downer. And that's weird because I think you're a super happy guy.
I don't think everything's rainbows and rose smelling farts. The world is the world. So
no, you think everything is black clouds and fart smelling farts.
I know there's people out there who abuse the system, but there's people out there that also need it. There's people out there that need a helping hand. That's all. That's the way I look at it. I used to be one of those. As everybody knows, I've been sober for over 22 years now. I was one of those people. You gave me something, I would use it. You gave me money, I would spend it on booze. And that kind of thing. That's the kind of guy I was. But not anymore. Now, I understand where Squib's coming from. I'm living on a fixed income. If I had done stuff like I was meant to have done, like have a good saving account, have a good retirement fund, and all this stuff, maybe I wouldn't be living on just on that fixed income. Maybe I would have other income coming in. I don't. But I didn't plan. The day that I got hurt, I didn't say this is the day I'm going to hurt myself and go on disability. It happened, and when it happened, I didn't have anything prepared. So I live on a fixed income. So, and if somebody wants to help me out, I mean, when I lived in Rhode Island, a lot of friends, I had a few acquaintances or people that knew me. They would drop groceries off at my house because they knew that I was on a fixed income. At first I didn't want to take it, but they were willing to give it to me, and I needed it, so I learned to accept it. Is that wrong of me? Just throwing it out there. Was that wrong of me? Should I reject?
At what point
you were spending money on pleasures or cigarettes or weed or alcohol or guns or whatever, then I would say then that might be wrong. But that's the problem. I think with average people, they'll justify anything, and that's where the priorities get twisted. But so depending on your situation, no, I don't think it's wrong. But I think even in your position, my mom's on the same thing you are. She has to have a certain amount saved. They want to know I got to do an audit every year for her, things like that. Basically, if something's to happen, there is money put away for a rainy day or like this with the government or whatever. You have that safety net. That's all. If everybody had a safety net instead of you'd be better off. Like, it's cooler for your kids to eat and not be sitting in a line all day for food than it is to have an $800 phone. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Also, what I'm saying is, like I said, I haven't. You think, he's been sober for 22 years, so his life should be. Just because of the day I quit drinking, it didn't mean that my life turned around straight away. It took years for me to break all those bad habits that I had. Because I had some bad ones, and I still have bad habits, and I still make stupid mistakes. I wish I had been prepared for that rainy day, but I wasn't. So now I pay the price, living on a fixed income. I've learned to adjust to it. That's why I moved to Indiana, to be closer to family in case I get worse. Plus, the cost of living's cheaper. So I'm trying to make my dollar stretch. So but I'm good. In that stimulus check, they sent me one. I feel that I've been on disability for a few years, but I paid taxes for goddamn years into the federal government. So, plus when gas goes up, when food goes up, when electric goes up, it affects me too. It affects me, and I think it affects me more than somebody who's earning a salary. I'm on a fixed income. Because if my electric goes up $10 a week, that's $10 a week less I got to take out of my fixed income. And if you have a chance to work overtime or whatever, you can pull that money back. I have a hard time. Go on.
I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Yeah, but Rick, along the same lines, unless they're going to take money away from your fixed income, if you wanted more money, you could make more money. Unless there's a stipulation that says if you earn money and pay taxes on it, that they're going to reduce your Social Security, then you do have a choice to earn extra money the same way I have a choice to work overtime.
Yes, you're right. Until I hit 65, I can only work, I think it's 20 hours 20 hours a week, I think, or just under 20 hours a week. Anything over that, then it affects my Social Security.
It's also affected by how much you actually make. So there's a certain amount that you can make every month for the total of the year, and you go 25 cents over that, you'll lose all of your benefits. That's how they have it designed.
Okay, there you go.
So it kind of it's dumb because yeah.
Hey, I mean, and
I
am looking for. I do keep my eyes open for something I can do. I mean, the worst thing is I can sit down for so long, and I can stand for so long. I can't sit down for 8 hours a day. I can't stand for 8 hours a day. I can do I can sit down for maybe a couple of hours. Standing, I may be able to stand for 30 minutes with my back. So it's hard trying to find something I can do. Not that I ain't looking. I wish I could find a job I could do at home. But I haven't found one yet, and everything I see when you look on the internet, to me, they're all scams just to get money out of me. So that's all, if I could find a little part-time job, I would love it. So, because as much as I moaned and groaned that as I got older, I couldn't wait for retirement, now I'm forced into it. I don't like it. Yes, I mean, it has its good points. I'm not bound by an alarm clock that I have to get up at a certain time in the morning to go to work. I can go to bed when I like, so I don't have to worry about getting up the next day. So it has little benefits like that. But overall, day in and day out, yes, I could go down the range every day, but it just, work and just, I don't know. I miss it. I miss it, to be honest with you. So there we go. That's me. All right. Anybody else got anything else?
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do for you, Rick. I'll let you go to work for me for the rest of the year. I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I'll let you go to work for me for the rest of the year. So you can come stay at my house. I'll feed you, give you transportation, everything. You just work for me for the rest of the year, and we'll call it even.
Okay. But I can't bring my guns to Maryland, can I?
Yeah, of course you can.
All right. So.
It's not like this is Michigan or anything.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wind this down, guys, unless you guys got anything else you want to talk about. No? All right. Okay, let's go through the panel here. And for any last comments, shout outs, or plugs. You got anything, Guns and Barbecue?
Nothing that really comes offhand. Just want to say thanks to Patriot and Kingpin. They've been really active on my channel. That Patriot, got me started with everything. Kingpin has been sending people my way, trying to get me some subscribers and commenting and whatnot. I think Black Cat as well has been pretty regular on there. So just want to say thanks to them. And other than that, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you. Kingpin, you got anything?
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Always a pleasure being on here. I love these conversations, and this place is extra special because, having Rob and Patriot and Squib on, these are kind of guys that I can argue with, and we're still going to be cool. So, I don't think that Rob is sitting there angry at me. I'm not angry at him. Squib's angry at everybody always, but we all love him. And that's what it's about. We're supposed to be able to argue with our friends and then still be friends. So that's why I really, really appreciate being here. So thanks again, Rick.
No problem, Kingpin. Next, now, New York Outcast. You can put the gun down. He didn't mean it personally.
No. It's fine.
Any shout out?
That's what we do sometimes. No, I threw a video up of a test video of a cheap rebar stand. If anybody's interested,
that's all right.
That's about it. So, yeah, it held up pretty well. So I didn't have any issues I was really expecting. I do have to bend the hook a little more, but I pointed that out. But seems good so far. But other than that, sorry I was late, and thanks for having me.
I got a question for you. Was that your daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Because you didn't put that in the captions or anything. I was thinking, well, I'm thinking it must be his daughter. You know,
Yeah.
because at one point I saw you talking to somebody in the video, so I knew there was somebody else there.
Okay. Yeah. 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 My daughter and the lady was there, so I think she was laughing at me when I first started and could barely hit the target. So that happens.
Yeah. Squib, you got anything? Any shout outs or plugs?
Well, thanks for inviting me to the show while I'm out here doing yard work. Finally got a nice day. And yeah, it's that constant love that is why I don't like anybody. So keep it up and see what you get. But yeah, I agree with Kingpin. I think overall it was a good show, but the end was it's kind of good when we can do this from time to time, and it just proves that, you know, it doesn't have to turn into some sort of petty BS. But it is kind of fun to kind of just air all that stuff. Also, there's I published a video today. Let everybody be warned. Patriot in the Dark, if he has your contact information, he's going to send you stuff. And, you know, it's just, he's up to no good. So just be careful about letting him know anything about you. There will be at least 2 more videos sorry about the noise. Somebody's trying to make up for small body parts with a loud exhaust. There will be 2 more videos coming out eventually, in between my rants about COVID-19 or other stuff, and they'll feature the item that was in my video today. So thanks for the invite, and everybody have a good weekend.
Thanks. I'm glad you showed up. But we've been missing you.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm furloughed from my job, and I don't know when I'm getting called back to work. And this is the most I've seen my wife. And the kids too. The kids are actually, you know, they're older, so they really don't want to do a whole lot, but they have been a little bit more engaged since I've been home. So I've been dodging some of the live shows to just have some family time, because those guys are more important than you guys. And because I know once I go back to work, I won't see them again. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally understand that, Squib. I'm just saying we've missed you. That's all. But I understand.
I don't understand that. How is it possible that your family's more important than me? I don't understand that part.
I don't either, but I'm just. Well,
you know. I mean, you know.
You meant the rest of these guys, not me.
What all happened in D.C., guys?
Look, what happens in D.C. stays in D.C., okay?
That's right. That's right. All right, I left the best to last. Patriot. Anything? Shout-outs, plugs, or anything? Well, I shouldn't say the best to last. I should say the co-host.
It was, I missed the last bit because I had to run and get my backup phone because, you know, I'm prepared because I lost power.
Because you're prepping. Because you're a prepper.
What I'd like to say is thanks to everybody for coming. And today is Armed Forces Day, May 16th. So, yeah, don't forget about that either. So I spent the morning with my new flags, and I put them up. And thanks to David, I got them right side up. So I got an embroidered Marine Corps flag, and it's on both sides. So it was really messing me up because we're both showing through. So
yeah. Oh, I got a couple of flags I need to put up, but I need to talk to you guys later. I don't know what size flagpole I'm meant to have, you know, but.
Well, I got a 30 with a 4x6 American flag and then a 3x5 Marine Corps flag.
On a 30-foot pole?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 6-inch pole. It's actually not a residential pole, but.
All right.
I don't care.
All right.
So thank you. Bye, Sabrina.
All right. Now I want to say thank you to the audience for being here and listening to us go on. I really do appreciate you spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Today it's in the low, I should say the high 70s here in Indiana. Been raining on and off. We got that for the next couple of days, but the weather's starting to warm up. I'm going to hopefully reload some more ammo soon and go back out to the range. and try the old outlaw again, the 1875, and see how it works. So I will say thank you all for being here, and I'll be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. So I will see you all then. So good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. So we're out of here.